My job is essentially connecting the farm here to campus and connecting campus to the farm. The organization that runs this is called Center for Agroecology and Sustainable Food Systems. It's a long acronym, CASFS for short. There's 3 sites total in CASFS. Field site is 10 acres of tractor cultivated fields. We grow food for students, for dining halls, and sell food to folks off campus, to the community through a CSA program and through a cart, market cart at the base of campus. Field site folks have been making an effort to help to address food insecurity on our campus. So I've been kind of in charge of managing donations, coordinating with folks on campus, working with pantries, and we have a produce pop-up. So it's like a little mini farmers market a couple times a week on campus, and we sell produce from the farm. From the local farmers market, we go and buy food that we think students would want, and then we come up here and we get to sell it to students for a third of the price. We get to really reduce the price thanks to GFI and Healthy Campus Network. We grow potatoes every year during the summer, and this summer we harvested 10,000 pounds of potatoes out of our main field. And we have that all in cold storage, and we send some up to campus every single week to pantries and dining halls. This whole field is just vegetables galore, flowers. So we started a flower CSA. We hired someone on to kind of like be our flower liaison. So you pay $10 a week and get like this massive, beautiful, full bouquet. Our first full year of having this basic needs program work with the farm, we donated almost 20,000 pounds of produce up to campus. So it's been a really exciting year, and I'm just really happy to be part of it.
Students couldn't just sit in their classroom anymore. They just did not want to learn by textbooks. And so they approached the provost at the time, and they said, we need to get out of the classroom. We need to do something. We hear like gardening can be village building. It allows us to talk and connect to one another in different ways in a class setting. Like, we want to garden. And they grew so much together with it, they realized, hey, I'm tired of classes. And they started dropping out of classes to garden with Alan and their peers, which did look good for the University of California. And so they wanted to anchor it in academic rigor. And so they designated this larger site within the academic structure for classes and research before everyone just started dropping out and farming at UC Santa Cruz.
Apprentices live in these kind of like glamping tents. They come here from April through October from all over the world, and it's a program, so it's not like through UC credit anymore. It's its own like independent program, still part of UC Santa Cruz. They cook all their food together. They cook food that they grow, and they just spend all their time together basically for 6 months.
We do a lot of fundraising to make the program accessible and have veteran scholarships and other support scholarships for students that apply here. So you have an incredible intergenerational, intercultural model of people living together, which again that requires facilitation and management. When you have all these different life ways together, and that's why we've really increased our residential life coordination and program management. But it's incredible for 6 months with this view. Just think about it. You need to empower the voices of a community to work amongst themselves to change. So that type of model works in every system, especially with agriculture. You're not going to tell conventional growers, being organic hippie from UC Santa Cruz CASFS farm, how to change your operation. But John Joe Blevins next door, who's been farming for 6 generations, suddenly changes things, and they're like, what are you doing, John Joe Blevins? Like, what's happening here?
Welcome to the Cow Coffee Shop. This is a cafe by the people, for the people. We provide services for UC students to succeed in their day. We provide coffee, tea, and anything that they need to become leaders of the future. We believe here that food is a basic need and part of the security for what students need to go on in their day, and that's the daily goal for us each day.
This is the Dean of Students Food Pantry, and it's run by the Dean of Students. We have a take what you need policy. We don't have a hard limit on anything, no point system, nothing like that. We have non-perishables. They're usually all from the Second Harvest Food Bank, and we also have fresh produce, also from food banks, local grocery stores, and from the UCSC farm, so which means it's all like harvested by students, for students. Half of the produce we have, if not like more than that, like 70% maybe, is from the UCSC farm. We're not that accessible for students. A lot of people don't know about us still, and the people who do know about us, like because of our hours, don't have time to come up. A lot of people who are the most in need live off campus, so it's harder for them to make time to actually come here and access the resources. This is where we keep a lot of our spare produce and also other things that we get. Right now we have a weird combination of things, but like you can see orange juice, cottage cheese, yogurt, string cheese. In the beginning of January, I think it was within 2 weeks, we had about 1,500 students, which is like more than twice as much that we had this time our first quarter, and we haven't had to put hard limits on anything. We haven't had to change our system at all.
So a highlight of the trip for me was definitely seeing the high school educational portion of the CASFS farm on the Santa Cruz campus. It was really inspiring to see some ideas that I really wanted to replicate at home on my farm.
I think that a lot of other UC schools and universities nationwide could learn a lot from how they're able to do organic production with students on such a large scale.
I really like how they have people who actually live on site and get the training and the experience of living and working on the farm. What Santa Cruz does is amazing, but then always the GFI trips, the best part is meeting with the fellows and talking about what they're doing at their different campuses.
I really enjoy from my experiences here at the retreats and field trips, I really enjoy the team building activities that we do. It gives us all a chance to not only get to know one another, but to be a bit vulnerable, to talk about what's important to us and why, and to just kind of be fun and silly and think about teams in sort of metaphorical, structural ways, and I really enjoy those elements of it.
We got to be amongst people who came to this campus as undergrads and got to see things like the Pantry develop and the Basic Needs Cafe develop, and really feel connected to that process, and to see the growth interpersonally in that way is really cool, because my campus is in the process of developing basic needs, and I want to see the same type of thing on my campus as well.
A lot of GFI fellows tend to have very similar project goals, and they all want to, make food security a more relevant and more accessible thing on their campuses. And I think it's great that we all have, very similar goals, and that we're all working towards the same thing, and that by having events like these, we can figure out what elements have worked on certain campuses and try and implement those in other campuses and see if a certain solution works on one campus versus another, and try and figure out why.
So the idea of actually growing food, a substantial amount of food for market and for our dining halls, would be amazing.
To me about this campus specifically was the farm, and how I also want to have a farm like this on UC Riverside campus.
We have a lot of community gardens, which are great for community well-being, and that's amazing. But I think producing a substantial amount of food would be a step, like that's the next step, like actually doing the thing, doing the sustainable food production.
No deer. That's very important. Everyone else is welcomed. But our four-legged Club Med friends.